Yeah, mic on, watch me, zone in. Queenie talk slick, let the show begin. Movies, music's real talk, the mix. Throwing gems while I'm breaking down flicks. Crown up high, you know what it mean. Culture, comedy, and everything in between. Hit play, sit back, it's a whole new scene. Bow to the vibe, it's the reign of Queenie.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing, fun filled episode of Queenie Biz Podcast, where I talk about movies, music, TV shows, and all the moments that made us laugh, scream, question the writers, and sometimes we're just sitting there wondering who really approved this. It's your girl, Queenie, and hopefully you did something fun for the 4th of July that just passed. I do want to give a shout out to my sister because her birthday was this past weekend as well. And we did a lot of fun stuff with her. And I'm blessed that she is still in my life and that we have a good relationship. So I'm praying for more blessing and opportunities for her, and doors will continue to stay open. So on today's episode, I am going back once again to the 90s because was the best time of my life with an animated movie that I had honestly never heard of before. Somehow this movie flew completely under my radar, and I honestly don't know how that happened because after watching it, I have a lot to say. Today's movie I will be reviewing is Once Upon a Forest. This movie came out in 1993. Now, when I first heard this title, I immediately thought this was going to be something similar to movies like Secret of Nim or Goes West. Those two movies I've seen numerous times. You know, cute little animals going on adventures, learning a lesson, maybe singing a song or two, and technically, there was music and singing in this movie. But this movie also said, what if we made a children's movie and included environmental disaster, toxic gas poisoning, grief, and emotional trauma? Because that exactly what kids want these days. This movie really looked at kids and said, you know what? They can handle it. Because apparently in the 90s, we can handle everything. So before we get started, please grab your snacks, your drinks, and let's talk about Once Upon a Forest. Just so you know, if you hear a lot of wind or thunder or lightning in the background, it is a storm happening right now, and it is hurricane season, so I'm gonna do my best to get through this before it gets rainier and louder because it's just starting. Spoiler alerts, guys. I will be discussing the entire movie. So if you haven't seen it and you want to experience it without knowing what actually happens, go watch it first and then come back. The movie starts off introducing us to our group of young forest cute animals. We have Abigail, who is a field mouse, who is definitely the leader of the group. She is very outspoken, confident, and honestly, probably the kid that teacher says has a lot of personality. Then we have Michelle, the young badger. She is very sweet, curious, and honestly deserves better because this movie puts her through a lot. Then there's Russell the hedgehog and Edgar the mole. And Edgar is extremely smart in this movie. And immediately I noticed something about this group. These kids are very energetic, extremely energetic, and outgoing. They are the type of children where you love them, but after about 30 minutes, you are looking at the clock wondering, when is bedtime? And when are their parents coming to pick them up? They say goodbye to their parents because they're going to meet with Cornelius, who is their teacher and mentor in his classroom, not thinking anything bad will happen to their parents and that they'll see them shortly. I did appreciate that the movie showed kids actually having parents involved because sometimes animated movies just have children running around the world with nobody asking where they are. The parents are like, have fun, guys. And I'm sitting here like, are we sure about this? Because these children are about to stress somebody or someone out. Now, let's talk about Cornelius. Cornelius is a wise old badger who teaches the kids about nature and the forest. And listen, I liked Cornelius, but I also understood him because these kids were really testing his patience from the very beginning. He shows them his newest invention, this flying machine he literally created, and the kids were fascinated, which is adorable, until fascination turns into chaos because instead of calmly looking at the invention, they start chasing around his house slash office and basically turning his laboratory into a disaster zone. Things are flying around, stuff is being knocked over, and Cornelius is just standing there watching his house slash laboratory become a kid's playground. And I was so with him. Because cleaning up after yourself is one thing, but cleaning up after four energetic children destroying your workspace? Absolutely not. I would need a vacation. A very, very long vacation. Parents everywhere who deal with this every day, I 100% respect you because I could not. Eventually, Cornelius gets everything under control and he is not happy, which is very understandable. The kids apologize, but Cornelius is still frustrated. And honestly, I understood both sides. The kids were excited, but also they destroyed somebody's house. That is a very important life lesson. After everything settles down, Cornelius takes the kids outside, and this is where the movie starts showing its real message and why we're here. The forest is beautiful, but there are dangers everywhere. The group comes across a road, and Cornelius immediately goes into panic mode. And honestly, watching him try to keep these kids safe felt like watching a parent trying to keep toddlers away from a swimming pool. He's constantly counting heads, checking where they are, making sure nobody gets hurt. And honestly, that man needed a tracking device because these kids were everywhere. Then we get one of the first moments where the movie shows humans damaging nature. A driver throws a glass bottle out of the window, and of course, it breaks. It shatters. Because apparently, even in animated movies, people cannot pick up after themselves. They're littering everywhere. And I was really sitting there thinking, really, we couldn't just throw it away properly, guys? But unfortunately, that was not even the worst thing that happened in this movie. Because shortly after, a truck, yes, guys, a big rig truck carrying dangerous chemical gases crashes after running over that shattered glass, and the accident releases toxic gas into the forest. And suddenly, this cute animal adventure movie becomes a story about environmental disaster. The forest animals are affected, the plants are affected, and the movie does not hide how serious it is. This was probably the moment when I realized, oh, this is not going to be a simple, cute animal movie because nothing is simple and cute in animation. After the accident, Cornelius, he takes the kids on a boat ride using his invention. And this is where Russell and Abigail, they actually have to work together because they are in charge of rowing the boat and Cornelius has to explain to them how to row the boat properly without them falling into the water. Because throughout the movie, these two were constantly competing with each other. They are both very smart, very confident, and they both want to prove they are right. Because who wants to be wrong? But this situation, it forces them to realize, you know what, maybe we should work together. And honestly, I like seeing that growth because underneath all the arguing, they really did care about each other. The kids eventually discover what happened to Michelle's family, and this is where the movie gets surprisingly emotional. Michelle's parents were exposed to the toxic gas, and they do not survive. And I have to give this movie credit because a lot of children's movies would have avoided that. Usually the parents disappear before the movie starts, or something happens when everyone magically comes back. But this movie actually lets the characters experience grief. Cornelius takes responsibility for Michelle and promises to take care of her. And that scene was honestly heartbreaking because he tells her that he will try his best, but he knows he cannot replace her parents. And that is a very mature message for a children's movie. So after the forest gets hit with this toxic gas, everything changes. The movie goes from, oh, look at the little woodland animals, to, oh, this is very serious. Michelle actually ends up getting exposed to the gas while trying to reach her parents. And can I just say, that scene was very heartbreaking. She doesn't understand what's happening. She's really scared, and Cornelius has to pull her away. With the help of Abigail, Abigail actually went down into her family's house to pull her out of the house. She was still in danger, but she wasn't exposed to the chemicals as long as her parents were. And can I just say that scene was very heartbreaking for both of them because, we didn't know we would lose Abigail too. You can tell he knows this situation is much worse than what he's letting on. Now, somehow, this wise badger immediately knows there is this magical flower that can help save her. How does he know this, guys? I really don't know. Did he go to Forest Medical School? Has this happened before? Did someone write a textbook? The movie doesn't explain. The movie never explains it, but you just know. We're just going to roll with it. Magic, movie love. Actually, I'm not sure if it explained it, and I just missed it, but that's just my explanation. So now Abigail, Russell, and Edgar volunteer to find this flower. First of all, can we appreciate that these kids immediately volunteer? Meanwhile, I'd be sitting there asking if there's another adult available. Is there another badger, a squirrel, a rabbit? Anybody over the age of 12? Absolutely not. So off they go. Now, this owl. They meet this owl. It had one eye and woke up every morning choosing violence. Poor Abigail, she gets snatched right out of the air. I was sitting there thinking, girl, not today. But Abigail honestly surprised me. Instead of panicking, she starts fighting back. She poked the owl with one of the thorns in the branches. She uses a magnifying lens and ends up making a scared face. She said, I'm going down, you're going to remember me. And I 100% respect that. Now, can we please talk about these birds in this movie? Because I absolutely lost it. The birds are having what I thought was a funeral. They're singing, everybody's emotional. The main bird sounds like a pastor. Everybody's talking about hallelujah. I'm over here thinking, did I accidentally turn on Sunday service? The whole thing gave me black church vibes. I was waiting for somebody to stand up and fan themselves. Come to find out, the bird they're mourning for isn't even dead yet. He's just stuck in the mud. Y'all, they gave up on him already. Thankfully, our little trio, the heroes, they showed up. They put a stick under his feet and they pulled him out. Problem solved, guys. Then the birds immediately switched from funeral songs to celebration songs. I laughed so hard during this scene. It was easily one of my favorite moments in this whole movie. The pastor bird starts warning the trio about this yellow dragon. Now, tell me why I got excited. I said, "Oh, we're getting dragons now?" I was expecting some fancy giant creature breathing fire. Nope, construction equipment. Honestly, that's actually kind of genius. The movie is showing how scary human machines look from an animal's perspective. To them, those bulldozers are dragons. They're loud, they're destructive, and they completely change the forest. And they're the reason why they're looking for this flower. I also really liked when they met all the different forest animals. Everybody was arguing over one acorn. one single acorn. I was like, y'all, there's got to be another tree somewhere. But underneath all the arguing, I love the message. Everyone had different backgrounds, different positions, different opportunities. But once they realized Michelle's life was on the line, nobody cared who was a mouse, who was a squirrel, who was a hedgehog. Everyone eventually came together. And I thought that was a really sweet part of the movie. But can we have a quick conversation about Russell's rope? Because, sir, why are you carrying this rope the entire movie? You had multiple opportunities to use it, especially with the owl, even climbing trees, especially crossing dangerous areas. Instead, it mostly stayed in the backpack. I don't know. Maybe he just liked being prepared. I was actually really impressed. They rebuilt Cornelius's flying machine. These kids built that thing really fast, less than a day. Meanwhile, I've been working on the same 500-piece puzzle for over a month, guys. They're over here building aircraft, and I can't even finish my puzzle. The logic isn't logicking. And of course, as soon as everything is going really well, the weather says, not today, like it is right now. Lightning hits them, which it is where I am right now. The flying machine they created, it crashes. I'm over here yelling. This movie does not want these kids to have one peaceful day. And then, after the kids are reunited with Cornelius and a lying, sleeping Michelle, they are also met with these humans who are outside Cornelius's lab slash house, and they have flashlights out. So they're searching for stuff, and they really don't trust humans. So they run outside, and amidst the chaos, poor Edgar, he loses his glasses and somehow gets separated, even though all the animals are running in the same direction. He ends up running into a trap, and I thought, well, it was nice knowing you, Edgar. And then the movie surprises me, because the human who had found Edgar in a trap, he actually helped him out. That was very refreshing. After everything humans had accidentally done in this movie, it was nice seeing one person show kindness. He had destroyed the trap afterwards. I also thought that was a nice touch. I mean, he destroyed it with his boots by stepping on it. And I was like, oh, I might need those boots in my life because my shoes can never do that. But I loved it. And then all the animals, well, Michelle came to, she was able to wake up. So, like I guess at the ending, Michelle finally gets the flowers that she needed. Everybody waits. Nobody knows if this is going to work. The next morning, she didn't wake up, and I honestly thought, they're really going to do this? They're really going to let this little girl die? And then she wakes up. I said, thank you, literally, because my heart cannot take any more sadness. But then Michelle asked about her parents, and Cornelius has to explain they are not coming back. That scene, that one hurt. There was no magical fix, no surprise ending, no last minute rescue, just grief. I actually respect the writers for not pretending everything could be fixed. Sometimes life changes forever, and they handled that in a way kids could understand. So overall, I absolutely enjoyed this movie. I love the environmental message. I love seeing the kids grow from constantly competing with one another into an actual team. The animation gave me so much nostalgic. It reminded me why I miss hand-drawn animation. Were there things that confused me? Absolutely. Like, how did Cornelius know about the full moon? What's the owl's backstory? What party did those birds throw after everything happened? Because I have questions, guys. But honestly, none of those things stopped me from enjoying the movie. If you've never heard of Once Upon a Forest, I definitely recommend giving it a chance. And just know, it's a lot darker than the poster makes it look. It's cute, it's funny, it's emotional, and it has one of the funniest bird scenes I've ever watched in an animation movie. For me, this movie gets a full 10 out of 10 Queenie Crowns. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Queenie Buzz Podcast. If you enjoyed today's review, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what childhood movie completely surprised you when you watched it as an adult. I love to hear your answers. And I did just release my first YouTube video last week, so please let me know what your thoughts and takes on that video. Until next time, guys, I'm Queenie, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, guys, and enjoy your weekend.
Ayo, crown still glowing as I dip out slow. Queenie dropped heat, now you already know. Keep your head high, let the world hear you speak. I'm back next time, same vibe next week. So stream that, dream that, keep it lit. You've been rocking with the queen, every word on beat. Till next time, stay loud, stay fly. Queenie out. Now let that beat ride.